Good evening. Welcome to Politics Tonight. I'm WGN TV political analyst Paul Lisnick. This is our nightly look at politics around our city, state, and nation. Tonight, we're talking about the transition of freshman aldermen into the city council here in Chicago. Now, they went through an orientation to teach them the inside scoop on how to get things done. It occurred to me that we ought to get some insight on how things work in City Council as well. So, joining me, my guest this evening will be 47th Ward Alderman-elect Ameya Pawar, 36th Ward Alderman-elect Nicholas Sposato, and third-term 9th Ward Alderman Anthony Beal, who's the veteran here. He can fill in the gaps the new alderman won't be able to, perhaps. We always want your comments and questions. Our phone lines are now open at 877-358-CLTV. That's 877-358-2588. If you prefer Facebook, that's just fine. Facebook.com/PoliticsTonight. I'll get your questions and comments from there. Remember, we're streaming live at WGNTV.com and CLTV.com. Let your friends know who live elsewhere on the planet. They can get their dose of Politics Tonight. Our poll question this evening. You know, our structure of government in Chicago is supposed to be strong city council, weak mayor. That's by design. Now, most would say it's been anything but that for the past many years. So tonight, our poll question looks ahead, and we ask, who will hold the real power in City Hall? Will it be the new mayor, Mayor Emanuel, or the new city council? Cast your vote at CLTV.com/PoliticsTonight. We'll have results at the end of the show. But first, here's what's happening in Politics Tonight. Former Senate Majority Leader George Mitchell is stepping down as the U.S. Special Envoy to the Middle East. Administration officials say he saw little point in continuing the job after 2 years of unsuccessful efforts to reconcile Israelis and Palestinians. President Obama appointed Mitchell to the position shortly after taking office. Mitchell's resignation comes ahead of a major Middle East address by the president on Thursday.
There is an old saying, three's a charm.
He's back. Republican Congressman Ron Paul launched his third presidential bid in New Hampshire today. The 75-year-old Texas libertarian says there's an intellectual revolution underway, and the time has come where people are agreeing with what he's been saying for 30 years. Well, we'll see how that plays out. Could a presidential run be imminent for former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee? He told his radio listeners this morning he's going to make a very important announcement on his TV show tomorrow night. That'll help boost his ratings. Huckabee ran for president back in 2008. We'll see what he says tomorrow. Illinois Republicans have filed a lawsuit challenging the constitutionality of the way congressional districts are drawn. It's a long-shot bid to stop Democrats who control the House and the Senate from creating a new map in Illinois without any input from Republicans. Previous attempts to reform the redistricting process have fallen short, and so the game called remapping will go on. Richard M. Daley left his office for the last time as mayor today. Dozens lined the halls of City Hall and LaSalle Street to say their goodbyes. At 22 years, Daley is the city's longest-serving mayor. He does have a couple more days as mayor, officially passing the torch on Monday. Mayor-elect Rahm Emanuel will kick off his inauguration with a weekend of events. Tomorrow morning, he'll host a citywide day of service, followed by a free concert in the park with rock group Chicago in Grant Park in the afternoon. I grew up with them. Tomorrow night, there will be a private reception and dinner for those who contributed money to the inaugural festivities. And you can watch the inauguration right here on CLTV starting at 10 a.m. on Monday. All right. Again, we encourage you to call in with your questions for my guests. I'm sure you have a lot that you're wondering about City Hall. As I say, the freshmen are ready to take their roles on Monday. That's when they take their oath. But how much do we really know about how City Hall really functions and operates? Our number again, 877-358-2588. Let me introduce my guests to you. They've all been here before. Joining me here in the newsroom is 47th Ward Alderman-elect Ameya Pawar. Alderman-elect Pawar, welcome back.
Thank
Politics
you for having
Tonight.
me.
Joining us also here at WGN Studios, the new alderman for the 36th Ward, Nicholas Sposato. And Mr. Sposato, thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Paul.
And over at Trib Tower, the veteran of the group, 9th Ward Alderman Anthony Beal. He's in his third term, about to start his fourth term. Welcome back. Welcome to Politics Tonight, Alderman Beal.
Thanks for having me.
You're our veteran. You're going to fill us in on what none of us can answer, all right?
we'll do our best.
All right. But let me stay with you, Alderman Beal, for this question. I don't know if you got to see the footage of Mayor Daley leaving City Hall. It seemed very emotional. He was smiling, but clearly he was moved. Just give us your take on this day when, after so many years, we transition from one mayor to the other, but your reflections on Mayor Daley having worked with him.
Well, again, I can always tell you that this mayor cared about the city of Chicago. From the very moment I took office back in 1999, he embraced me and told me whatever he needed to do to help me redevelop my ward, that he would help me, to the ends of the earth, and he kept his word. I've worked very close with him over the years, and, it's going to be sad to see him go because he has done a lot for this city. He's had some troubled times, but he's always weathered the storm. So it's going to be sad to see him leave, but we're always looking for new challenges, and we're looking forward to Mayor-elect Rahm Emanuel coming in and working with him.
Did you think it was interesting, Alderman Beal, his last stop today, 17th Ward, including the Englewood area? I mean, he went to an area that's really one of the most troubled in the city as a way to wrap up his Goodbye to Chicago tour. Does that surprise you?
No, not at all. This mayor has gone to every community from one end of the city to the other. He knows the community, he knows the city, he knows how the people feel, and he really had the heartbeat of this entire city. And he wasn't afraid to go into areas that were troubling and bring those resources in to try to make a difference. We have troubled areas throughout the entire city, and his philosophy was, let's go in and try to do what we can to turn those troubled areas around.
All right. Let's take a look at our freshman alderman. Let me come to you, Nicholas Sposato of the 36th Ward, because one of the first questions I want to ask you and Alderman-elect Pawar is how the transition is going. Now, we're used to smooth transitions of power in our lives. One president leaves office, the next one steps in. I don't think Mayor Daley took the W's off the keyboard in the computer in his office. You remember that. That was back in the Bush-Gore days. But anyway, it will be a peaceful transition in terms of the mayor's office. But Nick Sposato, let me ask you, you had to work with Alderman Rice. It was a very bitter battle. The two of you were on this show with an aldermanic debate. Clearly there was a lot of tension. How helpful has he been to you?
He hasn't been helpful at all. I haven't asked him for anything either. I knew he had no intentions of giving me any records or files. We'll figure it out through the 311 service. I hired an awesome staff. I have a great chief of staff, a great office manager, and a great ward soup. So everything will continue to run smooth under my direction.
I did see at one point in an article that I read about this, about the troubled transition, you made a comment, you said, just give me the files. I'm just saying, give me the files. Did you get the files?
That's all I want. It's for the better of the people. You're not hurting me, you're hurting your constituents, the people that you claimed you loved so much and respected so much. Now you're turning your back on them. It's just not right, Paul, so.
All right, and Ameya Pawar, actually, I'm calling you and Nicholas Sposato Alderman-elect. You and I were talking before the show, and you surprised me with some information. You said, actually, Paul, we're really not Alderman-elect. We're not recognized as such officially. Explain that to the viewers.
Yeah, there isn't actually a formal transition process that, in fact, right now, until I'm sworn in, I'm still considered a candidate for office for the alderman of the 47th Ward. And as such, there's a limited amount of information that's available to us. And very little resources. So what that does is it forces us to go out and raise money to build our office out and rely on information from other aldermen. They've been helpful, but I mean, it's difficult to put our office together when there's no real process.
So actually, if we're talking, and I'll continue to say Alderman-elect, I think you are, so Alderman-elect Pawar. I mean, so if you're talking about calling AT&T to come in or whoever, to do the phone service, or Comcast, whoever's going to do your thing, can you do, so are you doing that officially with the city or with city authority?
It's a case-by-case sort of process. some vendors are willing to work with us, and some we're going to have to pay with campaign dollars.
Okay, let me ask quick before we go to break, Nick Sposato. I know you've gotten furniture and whatever, so are you just paying for it? Is that what you're having to do?
Yeah, I'm fronting everything on my own for now. The city's not coming in to do their thing until Monday. The city's hooking up our computers on Monday, so everything's going pretty smooth, though. We'll be open and ready to service the residents of the 36th Ward on Monday.
Okay, and that's interesting to me. We're going to get Alderman Beal's response to that. We're also going to see, again, the ins and outs tonight. We invite you to call in with questions of our new alderman, Alderman Alls, on Monday, 877-358-2588. Be sure to go online and take our viewer poll. You're watching Politics Tonight, only on CLTV. Stay with us. All right, be sure you vote online, cltv.com/politics tonight. Welcome back to Politics Tonight. I'm WGN TV political analyst Paul Lisnick. We're taking a look at what the City Hall is going to look like, orientation for the new aldermen, and we're going to get an orientation as well about how things really work, already learning some things, like they're not officially aldermen until they take the oath and get no help from the city in setting up their office. Fascinating. Let me introduce my guest to you once again. Joining me here in the newsroom is the alderman-elect for the 47th Ward, Ameya Pawar. Joining us also at WGN Studios, Alderman-elect for the 36th Ward, Nicholas Sposato, and current alderman, continuing alderman for the 9th Ward, Anthony Beal, over at the Trib Tower. Alderman Beal, I guess you knew this, but I was kind of surprised. Maybe you remember back when you first took office, all of this sort of, until you take the oath, you're not officially in. It really is troublesome for new aldermen to get going.
Well, it's always a challenge. It was a challenge for me when I first came in. But one good thing that the new aldermen-elect have at their disposal is that they will have a bigger expense account when they do take office. When I first took office, our expense account was only $23,000, and we only got a third of that because they only gave us a certain amount because of the time frame in which we got sworn in.
So what's it now? What is it now?
Now it's about $77,000.
All right, and that pays for what? Is it
and
staff?
That pays for all office expenses, your rent, light, gas. And all the utilities in the office, and just all your supplies. So they will have a little bit extra cushion, because when I came in, it was painful, and I lobbied and fought for the next generation of aldermen coming in to have a little bit more resources when they do come in. But it was hard coming in, and because you don't have that transition. Nobody wants to work with you when you first come in. The past administration, because you go through a brutal election cycle, and you talk about the people, and then they say, well, why should I help you? So those are the challenges in which you face. But
Alderman, can I just ask you, why is that? I already talked about, again, presidential elections. I know I shouldn't be comparing alderman to president, but look, when McCain went after Obama, all this kind of stuff, that's what elections are. Things get tough, and then people shake hands and move on. Why doesn't it happen at the aldermanic level then?
Well, because some people just take this thing personal, and you can't take it personal. This is politics. We're here to serve the people, and if you have to keep the people in the forefront, and if you do that, then you will cooperate. But you do have people who figure, when I came in, nobody helped me, and now they're bitter because they've lost their election, and they figure they're not going to help the next person coming in, which is wrong.
Did you get help when you came in office?
I got absolutely no help whatsoever. But again, when I came in, I had great people that took me by the hand. Rest her soul, Lorraine Dixon, Alderman Austin. Those aldermen embraced me when I came in, and they helped me along the way. And so as the new aldermen come in, we'll do the same thing. We'll reach out, extend our staff and our resources to help them out, to get them to where they can hit the ground running, because nobody needs to suffer during a transition. So
right.
Any help that I can be of service to anybody that's coming in, I'm here to help.
Okay, Ameya Pawar, let me come to you, because I've noticed up in your ward that Alderman Schulter has his set of offices, and then the offices of Alderman Pawar, well, they're not going to be in the same place. You're not taking over. You're next door, right next door. How did that happen?
We asked whether we could take over the lease of the outgoing alderman, and he said that he would look into it, and it just didn't work out. He's paying below market rate. He was offsetting the expense with political dollars, and I just didn't have a $900,000 war chest to do that, so we found a separate space.
Are you finding Alderman Schulter, I guess I'll be personal with this, is he helpful? He didn't lose to you. He didn't run for a re-election.
Yeah, no, I think he's been helpful. His staff has been helpful, but it's been limited. But that said, I'm going to work over the next 4 years to build a relationship with him. He is the committeeman, so I respect his service, but
all right,
I'm ready to go.
Nick Sposato, I think I know the answer to this question. I'm guessing Alderman Rice didn't say, here are the keys, good luck to you.
No, he didn't. But as Alderman Beal said, all the aldermen that are in right now, not all, but many of them, and many of the outgoing aldermen have been tremendous, offering their help and support. I've heard from a lot of commissioners. It's just been the support the people have been offering. It's just been unbelievable, and I'm really happy to have their support. All
right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, I've got several Facebook questions for you, and you're welcome to also call in if you want to talk personally to these aldermen, 877-358-2588. You're watching Politics Tonight, only on CLTV. Stay with us.